Gabriel, welcome to the show, man.
So nice to be here, man. So nice to connect with you.
I appreciate it. You're in Cuba right now, right?
I'm in La Habana right now. So
Man,
yeah, it's crazy. At least right now we have a stable internet to connect because 2 weeks ago it was impossible to do this.
that's wild. I mean, I'm really grateful. I've read a lot about the internet out there. Um, does it help you? Like, do you get access to everything, or is it kind of like certain countries where they block off parts of the access and you have to use a VPN?
In fact, I have to use a VPN for everything right now because
Okay.
before 11 July, was the day when people went to the street for ask for freedom. Before that, we could access to many things without VPN. And after that, I don't know if you know, but 11 July, when people went to the streets, the government cut off internet, so people couldn't publish the live videos and stuff like that about what was happening. That was a total repression. And after that, they took a while to put internet, and when they put it, just we don't know what is going on right now. For example, during the night, they just internet go really slow, and now I have to use a VPN for everything. So I'm sure they are developing something with this company that is called ETEXA, which is the only company that of communication in Cuba that is, of course, from the government, and they are doing something. I don't know. They are developing something to maybe to check what people, the website you go, even maybe this conversation in record. We never know. We don't know how it works. It's just crazy.
That's wild. Now, we're seeing a lot about food lines right now. Before the show, you showed me like how are you getting access to food and all of that?
Right now, it's just crazy. We do lines like almost every Cuban. Um, it's just it's surreal how to explain. Okay, I'm gonna give you some example. For example, the only meat we have eat for the last 2-3 months is chicken, and that chicken come from US. That is crazy.
Wow.
uh, yeah. Um, Also, just a detail is, but it's also crazy. We've been like maybe 2 months also with without toilet paper, things like that. It's just we have huge lines. I remember. Okay, so you can understand we have two different stores right now. You can buy things in stores where you pay with pesos, Cuban pesos, and they created at the beginning of the year stores where you buy with dollars. And of course, the stores where you can buy with dollars, there are more food. But even there, the lines are crazy. We did the line for one store, maybe in February or March, I don't remember, with my wife, and we spent 13 hours to get in. 13 hours. We arrived there at 5:45 or 6 a.m. and we entered the store at 7:30, and we get out from the store at 8 something. So 8
Jeez.
p.m. So the whole day just to buy chicken and pasta and not a big things. It's not that you enter there and there are many things. No, you enter there and there are just some things. So it's just it's a huge, really difficult situation right now with the food. Really difficult.
That's terrible. Now, but you have an opportunity to travel because of your family background, right? So that helps
Yes.
you a little bit in your position. What's that about?
I'm really lucky because since I burned, I have the Swiss passport and Italian passport. In fact, I have three passports because my family come from my whole mother's family come from Switzerland and Italy, and my father's family is from Cuba. So I born in Cuba, but I have the two passports when I burn, and this is a this is like the big dream of every Cuban, having a passport to travel and without problems. So I find out about the great opportunity I had when I was 17. That's why at the moment I turned 18. I turned 18 September 13th, and December 15th I was already in Spain. I quit Cuba for 12 years, Not because it's just because I was an adventurer. I'm someone that loved to know countries and know the world, and I had the opportunity. I understood that very young, so I just quit when I was 18 alone. I went to Spain, and after that, well, I lived in England, in France, Italy, and then I came back when I was 30 to Cuba. The reason was simply because I started doing photography there, and I worked mostly with musicians. And I spent like maybe 5 years working with musicians in Europe and festivals. But there was a moment where I wanted to develop mostly fine art photography, where I have some ideas written in a paper. And when I find out that all these ideas had an ingredient from Cuba, because I don't know why, maybe the roots, maybe my culture, whatever. I just find out that my ideas were here in Cuba, and I changed my life. I just quit Europe to come back to Cuba. Of course, it was very promising years, because it was the 2014 when Obama and Raul create some kind of relation, and people in Cuba started to dream for the first time, started to see something different, like many tourists. The private sector starting to develop for the first time, which was forbidden before that. It was Raul who changed that, but just a little. And yeah, I just came back because these promising years, and because I wanted to develop my photography here. And I did well, because I'm happy taking that decision. My life changed so much, and I could develop as an artist more than what I even thought. And yeah, it's just that the change is really huge. The reality here is completely different. My friends in Europe that have been living there for 13, 15, 20 years, they couldn't understand my decision. They were like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you coming back? And I've been always a very romantic person. I was just following my dreams, and I don't regret at all, even if the reality right now has changed so much, so much.
Well, to live without regret because you're following your passion, that's
That's it.
amazing, man. Yeah.
That's it.
Good on you. Now, so like when you came and you started working on fine art photography, what's that process looked like over the last X number of years? Where are you at?
In fact, it was crazy, because when I came here, I can say that nobody knows about me, of course. I used to live in Europe for 12 years and working as a photographer there. I used to come every year to work with a very important festival. It's Leo Brauer, which is like a living legend of the music that we have in Cuba. I used to work with him for 7 years in his festival. So I used to came 1 month a year to work in his festival. That's why almost the reason why I took also the decision to come back and do my work here. So it was difficult. I just came here and I just couldn't find out how to do it, because in Europe it's kind of I was already I had something already developed around me, and I could work with just photography for a long time. But when I came here, I just started touching some doors, talking with some independent magazines that started to being created for the first time in Cuba, like Vistar magazine. Okay, independent media in Cuba is forbidden by law, but I have my best friend, which is the director and creator of Vistar magazine. He took a risk at that moment. He created this magazine. Of course, it's a digital magazine. It's not printed. Printed is completely, it's more forbidden. So he created this digital magazine about popular culture in Cuba, music and everything. And I started to work with him and with the whole team. And this was a whole revolution. In fact, when Obama was in Cuba, he met the director, Robin, met Obama during a meeting that was managed with entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs. I don't know how to say that word in
No,
English.
you got it. Interpreters. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just in my career, I just focused to work. I just created many ideas that I had written in papers, like The Isolated Island, which is a series that has got a lot of success, that talks about the utopia and this feeling when people sit at the border of their lands and they watch the horizon, putting the thoughts in, I don't know, maybe the reality and their future. This feeling is a feeling that I have every time that I fly on a plane. When I go to the window and I see all these clouds, all this immensity, and you see down there, and it all looks so tiny. All our problems, all the things that all human beings have created down there, it looks like almost nothing compared to that big thing. So I photograph a lot of clouds, and I kind of match that feeling with the feeling of people sitting in the border of the Malecon of Havana. That is the border of our land. Cuba is surrounded completely by water. It's an island, and in those water has occurred the biggest migrations, like the balseros during the 90s, and many people died there. So I love when I go to Malecon and I see people sitting there and watching the horizon, relaxing, meditating, and I don't know why when I saw them, I kind of mixed that feeling with the feeling that I had with those clouds. So what I do with this series, take out the sea and put the clouds. So I don't talk with the people, I just photograph them, and I just take out the sea again, I put the clouds behind. And just this series, for example, this series and others that I did gave me the space and the voice in the art scene in Cuba. So working hard during 5 years, I kind of receive a lot of, how you say, answer from people through my social medias and through exhibitions that I did on the street. People knew about my work, they like it. It was maybe some kind of different message, always trying to work with hope, putting the best energy possible there. And after years, I just got this kind of recognition that makes me feel well, but also give me a lot of responsibility about the way I work and the language I develop through the island. And yeah, that's kind of been my reality during the last 6 years, working hard and trying to give people magic and utopia and poetry to make them dream in the middle of all this crazy world and reality.
Your desire to be connected back to your roots, to live a different lifestyle in order to follow your art, and then to take from that and try to give to other people is amazing. And you deserve to be applauded for that. One of the things that I noticed from your work is a lot of use of reflection in your pieces, and I wanted to ask if that was intentional or not, if it's subconscious. Are you intending to pull that or put that into your work?
Can you repeat? Sorry, the reflections.
Yeah, there's like a mirroring of clouds here and then clouds down here. Yeah.
Yes, that is mostly in the street art, and yeah, reflection is I love him. There is something poetry when, for example, right now what I have in my mind is photos that I did from street photography, where I have this kind of reflection and two worlds almost repeated, and all this is because the rain. I love everything that is natural, like the light and clouds and water and the sea and the rain. And when it rains in Cuba, the ambience is so beautiful. It's just and I love when I'm walking and I find this kind of I don't know how to say, we have problem to the water when it rains. The city gets a lot of water in the streets, and this water doesn't go out for maybe 1 hour or 2 or 3. So I really enjoy finding these and finding these reflections is definitely so beautiful. And yes, I think I've been always, when I started in photography and when I decided to develop my fine art photography or street photography, I always try to do something. I'm thinking always of trying to do something different. I give you an example. Street photography, or the most international photography recognized from Cuba, is always black and white, and it's always about the street photography. For example, like I give you an example: Alberto Corda, Raúl Cañivano, Corrales. These names that I told you are the biggest and greatest photographers in Cuba, and most of them they were black and white, and most of them they got recognition during the revolution because they photograph the process of the revolution in Cuba and the Barbudos and all that. And when I came back to Cuba, the photography that I wanted to do was completely different. I wanted to bring a lot of color. I wanted to bring a lot of surrealism. I wanted to bring another kind of language, completely different, because that is the photography that most of the people know from Cuba. This kind of photo for El-Che from Corda, or this kind of works. And I always said that there is a new generation already of artists in Cuba that are developing something completely different that fits in almost every kind of photography of the world. I know amazing fashion photographers from Cuba. I know amazing surrealistic photography from Cuba. I know street photographers that do amazing work with colors. So there is already a new wave of artists that see the world different than what it was during the 60s and the 50s. That was the beginning of the revolution, and it was the photography more exhibited or more exported from our island. So right now we have something beautiful and something different also to bring to the world and to connect with the world.
I have some color photos from before my family left Cuba and went to Florida that are in color of the island and the water and the beaches, some aerial photography. I was told they're from a helicopter, and it's just absolutely beautiful. So it's awesome that you're wanting to bring that back, but using the technology and the high fidelity that we have today. Now, you and we got connected. You were being promoted by an NFT group that was highlighting Cuban artists that are doing NFTs. What was your transition to include fine art in the NFT world?
Man, it's just NFT has been a relief and a completely world of freedom for me right now, and for many artists in Cuba. So I give you a background so you understand. Cuba has been closed since February or March from last year, 2020. It means we have been 1.5 years in our houses, and yeah, and also in the street, but the whole country is closed, and all galleries are closed. So the artwork is completely stopped since that moment. So imagine how artists are struggling in this moment. It's just crazy, not only about a financial thing, but also about a creative thing. And in March or February this year, I was on Clubhouse and I heard about NFTs for the first time. And I started to enter more to this kind of rooms to understand this about NFTs. I just wanted to understand what was it. And
were you doing that in Clubhouse and Discord, or was it just Clubhouse? Like what rooms?
Just Clubhouse.
Just Clubhouse.
I didn't even knew that Discord existed at that moment.
Nice. That's awesome.
So my first app was Clubhouse, which I'm gonna give you one thing that happened 2-3 days ago, or the Minister of Foreign Affairs from Cuba said on his Twitter that Clubhouse is how he said, it's a bad application. It's like a mercenary application. So, wow. Yes, he said that on his Twitter. But the thing is, Clubhouse for me was, oh my God, still an amazing application, because from Cuba, I've been allowed to connect people from the whole world and networking in many different fields, not only photography. And that is incredible. I cannot fly right now. It's really difficult right now. The situation in Cuba right now is bad. So most of the time I'm in my home. And this has been freedom. When I, so what I was telling you, when I find out about Clubhouse, in one of the rooms, because I share rooms for many other topics, but one of those rooms we're talking about NFTs, and I understood in those rooms that I could do NFTs from Cuba, and I was like, wow, man. So I tried it to do. I followed the steps that I was listening to the people, like creating MetaMask wallet account, and then an account on OpenSea, etc. And I found out that it was possible, and I was putting all this in my Facebook, in my social medias, where I have many artists and and galleries and stuff from Cuba, from the culture life from Cuba. So people were looking at my post and they were writing me like, hey, so this is possible from here. This is so, just until one moment where I wanted to mint my first work, and then I found out that I cannot buy Ethereum from Cuba. Even if you have a credit card from any other country, you cannot. I don't know why. When you buy, there is, it just stay thinking there, you know, like charging, and nothing happens. So I couldn't find out the way to buy Ethereum to mint my first work, and it was in one of these rooms where a guy from New York with 23 years that I don't know, that I didn't know at that moment, we met in that room. He listened to my story and he called me he wrote me on Instagram, and we did a webcam call so we could meet, and he paid my first gas. This guy, just from nothing, he told me, I'm gonna help you, I'm gonna send you what you need to pay the gas, your first gas, so you can meet your first work today. And I couldn't believe that. That was the moment I understood that it's not only about NFTs or selling works, digital work on internet, but it's also about amazing community. So just to close and not be too long, because there are many stories in the middle. This work was sold. My first NFT was sold like 6 days later after I minted. And when I reached this guy to send him back the money, I asked him to send him the money back. He said something beautiful. He said, don't send it back, just continue the change or the change of favor. So that's what I did. I used my first ETH that I win with my first NFT and my second NFT, and I pay gas to many artists in Cuba. Most of them artists that I know they are not allowed to present their work in Cuba because their work is so critical with the government. So wow. I understood many things here. Not only is a financial freedom, it's a very good place to network with the world. It's an amazing opportunity for us as Cuban artists to build our presence on internet. We haven't done that, never, because internet is so young in Cuba. We have internet for 3 years or 2 years, maybe. And I saw all this opportunity in the NFTs. So right now, there is a beautiful community of artists already. There are also really important artists from Cuba already present in the space that I push them to enter. And also amazing projects like Fábrica de Arte Cubano, which is a really well-known place in La Habana. It's a physical place where you could go during the night and dance and watch exhibition, theater, dance, restaurant, bars, all in one place. This place is recognized by New York Times as number 11 in 100 places to visit in the world in 2019. So this is a really important project. So when I find out about all these, that was one of the doors that I knocked. I called the director of the creator of this project, which is a good friend, and I told him, man, Fabrica have been closed for a year and more. NFTs are here. I'm gonna explain you what is it. Fabrica has been always helping artists to show the work about more contemporary works. So this is the best opportunity for Fabrica de Arte to continue developing their goals, even if they are closed. And now it's a reality. Fabrica de Arte has amazing profile on OpenSea, and they have, I don't know, maybe more than 25 or 30 artists, Cuban artists. They launch an open call through the whole country. So artists could submit the work, and there is a curator that choose the greatest work, and they help doing everything. artist doesn't have to pay for minting. They doesn't have to take care about promotion, nothing. And it's already happening and things like that. I have many stories, many beautiful things that has happened thanks to NFTs, man.
So for people that haven't been exposed to NFTs, which are, it's digital, it's art turned digital, put onto a blockchain so you can show proof of both who created it and who buys the rights to it. What's the big deal to artists being able to create something, mint it, which means putting it on the blockchain, and then putting it onto something like OpenSea, which is a platform where someone like me can see it and buy it? What's the big deal as compared to how art's always been?
There are many things. The first, traditional art will continue there. This is just a way where art developed to another level, one more level. And this has happened many times during our history, in the art history. I put you some examples. It was so difficult when you, I used to work a lot with galleries and museums. When you put a work in a gallery and a collector buy it, you almost never know. After that, you never keep in touch with that work. You just lose it from the radar. Maybe that collector lose it, maybe still there, maybe he resell it. You don't know. You never know about that. Now the blockchains allow you, at the moment you put the artwork there, you will be always in touch with it, and you will always have the track of its life. What happened with that work, if it's resell or not, if the collector keep it, or it's not only that. You have the track, but also you receive royalties from the secondary sales. That is crazy to think. You will never find a gallery telling you, okay, you're gonna do an exhibition about your work. Some of them sell it, or you do sold out. And maybe 1 year later, they knock your door to tell you, hey, we're gonna give you royalties because the collector resold the work for a lot more. No, that will never happen. And now this world allows you this. And not only that, if we think about the if we think about the evolution of life, we could almost know that this was going to happen sometime, because there is so much digital art, pure digital art. And I'm talking about maybe illustrators, or mostly 3D artists. Most of them, they used to give services. You are a 3D artist. What you used to do before this is people calling you to put some 3D in their works, or movies, or music videos, or whatever. But it was really unusual to see this kind of 3D artists creating an artwork born from their feelings and put that in a gallery and sell it. That was not usual in the. So it is, if we see the evolution of life, it is normal to think that there is so much digital art nowadays, that is normal, that now there is a market created for these artists and for this art. And that is amazing, because I can sell my photography through NFTs, but I also used to sell my photography in galleries for 6 years ago or 7 years ago. But as I told you, many 3D artists never done something like that. And most funny, like a personal story that I heard in one of this room, there is a 3D artist which I admire a lot, that have an amazing work, that he, as I told you, he used to do some stuff, but that was mostly for their Instagram. So people do likes and follow him. That's all. He didn't win money for that to buy food or whatever. So now this guy is part of the collection of Christie's. How the hell we could imagine that a 3D artist could sell in a so amazing auction house like Christie, which is one of the greatest auction house in the world, and the most ancient. I don't know if that's a word, but
It is.
Christy.
Yeah.
So that is crazy to think. That is beautiful. So I think NFTs has came to create something incredible. And for me, the most beautiful from all that is the community inside all of that. I never seen something like that. I work with traditional art for a long, long time and with really, really important artists. And I never saw such a beautiful community. You know, that is crazy to think like so many artists getting together, creating groups, helping each other, promoting each other. And that is also a good thing. Now artists promote, can show their work and sell the work, and you never know how big they are going to come without no one in the middle. You don't need a big uh, auction house or a big galleries or someone to tell you, okay, come, I'm gonna push you up. If your work is amazing, man, now you can make them knock your door, telling you, hey, please come with us. That is something that we have never seen. Well, maybe in the traditional era, but it's not that usual. This is a lot of freedom, definitely, and I find it beautiful.
So you're, because of how things with the NFTs, there's, it sounds like there's a lack of a little middleman unless you want to use one. And that's giving you and other artists like you more exposure.
Yes, I don't know if I understood well what you said, but what I can tell you, for example, I don't know if it fits well there, but that is something that I really need to
All
say.
good, man. All good.
This is not only about freedom. Imagine if this is freedom for so many artists in the world. Imagine what can NFTs and blockchain do in a totalitarian country like mine. This is not the only totalitarian government in the world. There are many. This could change the life for many people in these kind of countries, a lot. For the example I did that I told you before, that I paid the gas for at least 2 or 3 artists that have a really critical work with the government. They don't, right now, they don't have no someone telling them you cannot present that, you cannot sell that, or you cannot show that work. They can do it now. They can do it. In fact, one of them just minted a work on Foundation that is a comic that is going to be a comic. He minted the first page of the comic, and the comic is about Fidel. And I don't know if you understand Spanish, but the name of the project is called El Cingaísimo en Jefe. It's like the motherfucker in chief. So these kind of works will never reach a market in a country like mine. And this is freedom for these artists. They can do it right now. They can sell it, they can show it, and people can collect it. And this, what blockchain can do in countries like mine, it's something huge. Even me, I can't imagine how far this can go.
What is amazing about this, man, is people don't need to even understand the technology, how it works. They just need to realize that it is allowing more human expression and freedom of speech through art. And that is incredible.
That is, we always dreaming. Okay, what happened in Cuba for the last times, and what happened in July 11th, when people went to the street, and what happened later, is that all the official community channels, I don't know if it's well said, but television, radio, everything is controlled by the government. So what is said there is what the government wants to say to the people. Internet has changed all that reality. Internet has given us a space where we can talk about many realities that we have inside the island that we could never share it before. And again, NFTs and blockchain help us a lot in that, mostly for artists again. And this is just the beginning. I'm really curious about what's going to happen in the future with that in Cuba. And I'm also curious about what is the position of the government about that in the future too. Because even if they get mad or they want to do something, the blockchain, they can do nothing on the blockchain. That makes you feel powerful and free. It's like, oh man, whatever they want to do, the only big thing they can do is just put me on jail. But they cannot stop me from minting a work and put it there in the blockchain. They will never delete it. They can do nothing from that. So that is that. I want to see what happens in the future. I'm gonna make you also a little story that happens to me a month and a half ago. I got a call from a friend, someone that I know personally. She called me to know, hey, how you doing? Everything. Oh man, I read all you said about blockchain and all this about NFTs. And then she told me that she was working for the Minister of Culture, and they wanted to do a podcast about the blockchain and the NFTs. At that moment, I was my feeling was kind of weird. I don't want to give this information to the government. If they want to, if they will find out, they definitely find out in the future. But I don't want to give this information because this is something magical right now for us, and I don't want them to understand that this is totally freedom. If they find out that, maybe something's gonna change for us. I don't think the big change, a big thing, because they can do anything. The worst they can do is cut my internet forever, but even that doesn't work. You know, I always find out a way to connect. Yeah, I this is something beautiful. I'm gonna see in the future. I'm gonna tell you in the future what's going on. But I have many friends that have done works like Jimmy, which is the guy that I told you that did this comic about Fidel, the minted on foundation. He did a film 2 years ago, I think so, that was forbidden in the film festival, Young Film Festival in Havana. So again, now he knows that he has the blockchain to put this kind of works and never being forbidden and always be record there. So yeah, beautiful moment we are living.
Yeah, man. Like whenever oppressive groups, whether it be government or another powerful body like religion or something to that effect, that said, we don't want this message communicated anymore, and they'll burn books to be able to destroy words and how humans communicate to each other, or destroy art or blow up buildings. And the way you're saying it, you and your fellow artists that are creating, and you have this permanent thing on the blockchain, like your legacy, your voice will never disappear.
That is so poetical. One of the goals I put to myself that is not easy, it's taking time, but I'm gonna reach it working hard, is to bring the heritage of our culture to the blockchain. And I'm talking about the biggest artists, these artists that are well known in the world, because we all know that Cuban culture is well known in the whole world. Musicians, pianists, painters, all of them. The only thing is that most of these great Cuban artists that are well recognized in the world they have some age and they don't know about blockchain, and probably they will not find out about blockchain because they have their, they are from a different, how you say, a different age, a different generation. But my goal is to most of them that are still alive, push them to enter in the blockchain. And I'm working hard on that with another great person that is a great artist, a Cuban artist. And we both talk about that, and we have that goal to bring people like Omar Portuondo, or bring people like Chucho Valdez, or I don't know, there's so many in the list that are well known in the world, that are our heritage. And I want them to mint something in the blockchain. I want all these great people to be in the blockchain. And Yeah, we are working on that. It's not easy, but it will happen.
What what is their resistance to it? Is it lack of understanding? Is it fear? Why don't they want to do it?
No, I don't think it's fear. This kind of artists, this kind of legend, they are free people. They will be always free people, no matter if they live in Cuba or not, because their heart, because the way they create, because what they have reached in the life. So it's not a fear. It's knowledge, a knowledge. Is their age. Is even if it's difficult for us to understand and learn about blockchain, imagine someone from 90 years or 70 years. It's not only about the age, because most of the people also have a young heart. That's why my dream is to sit next to them and make them the whole kind of simple explanation about what is it. And I already can imagine the answer. The answer is going to be a smile with yes, yes, let's do it. So they are young people. They just don't know about this. Again, there are 11 million people in Cuba, and there is less than 3 million people that connect to internet. So that is the biggest problem. We don't have this culture in part of this of our culture, and that's why I'm gonna push them to enter, because if not, they will not find out.
That's great. And the rest of the world should find out. They should be
Yes.
exposed to that art from a cultural perspective, from a human perspective, to be able to see how Cubans think about the world, not just their environment, but like you with nature, how you see reflections, how you see the people around you, how you see water, and then like the comic and how people see revolution and freedom. Man, that's incredible. I'm really impressed with what you're doing, and honestly, the bravery that it takes to not just to be willing to be free with your heart and your voice and your mind regardless, but to take the time where there's people here in the United States that are free, but their minds, because of their fear of failure, of not understanding, that keeps them not free. And you're being free in your mind regardless. And man, that bravo, that deserves a lot of
Thank you, bro.
appreciation. Yeah,
Thank you.
man.
I what I lived in my whole life, I've been following that little voice inside me. Like we all have it, that tell me do this, even if it's something crazy. Like for example, when I was 17 and my voice was telling me go to Europe, and I had to lie my mom to tell her that I was going to a friend's house and I was just staying for 2 months. In fact, I wasn't going to any friend's house, and I was going for 12 years. And like the same voice that was telling me when I was in Europe to come to Cuba and do this, and that voice is that freedom that you are talking about. And when I find out about NFTs and more than that, that voice is the one that told me, "Hey, this way we need to develop this and we need to go through this." And that is freedom. We always say that it's difficult to understand what is freedom and what is happiness or what is utopia. But I always remember a beautiful example of a great writer called Eduardo Galeano. In fact, these words are not from him; it's from one of his friends. But they did both a speech in a university in Latin America, and some student asked this friend of Eduardo Galeano, what what is utopia and what does it mean? What is utopia? And his answer was so beautiful. I always remember because it makes me think about this. His answer was that he didn't knew what was utopia. He did the same question every day, but what he find out is that utopia is in the horizon. And when you walk 2 steps, utopia goes 2 steps back. And when you work 4 steps more, utopia goes 4 steps more far. So what is utopia for? Is it just to walk? That is the whole meaning of utopia, to walk. And that is also the meaning of freedom and also the meaning of happiness. It's just to keep going and I don't know, keep going and enjoy this opportunity that we have to be alive. And again, every time I'm inside a room, or when I speak with people like you, or when I'm in a clubhouse, or when I do a tweet, I'm always thinking about, I feel like the whole responsibility in a positive way of talking about the whole community of Cuban artists, because many of them doesn't have the opportunity to connect to internet every day. It costs money. I pay a lot, but I do it because I see the profits. I see these artists selling. I'm also selling. I see these artists having a free space to develop. So when I'm in these kind of conversations, I always have to talk about this community and about all when I talk, I'm trying not to talk about me. I'm trying to bring all of them, because if I have the opportunity to be here, I want to open this door to all of them. And maybe one day they will be also connected in the community all day and chatting in the rooms and meeting people from the whole world. And maybe one day Cuba will be more free, and maybe pandemia will be better, and all of you could come visit Cuba for the first time. And for the first time, you're gonna have friends here, and artist friends, and people from the culture that are going to receive you and are going to take you to the most beautiful artist scenes in La Habana, which is in Cuba, which is incredible, because culture here is the most beautiful thing that we have in the island. So imagine how powerful is this that is happening, all this that is happening. It's not only about NFTs, and it's a lot more than that. It's something that we're building together.
Yeah, it's the humanity behind the technology. It's the human behind the art. Yeah, I love it,
That
man.
is crazy to think. But sometimes we think that technology is not always good. Of course, it's not always good. But when you put humanity behind all that, technology is amazing.
Yeah, man. No, that's cool. Yeah, when we get a chance, definitely we're gonna have to go immerse ourselves in culture together, and then we're gonna go out and we're gonna drink and dance, right? Listen to
Yes,
some
yes,
music.
yes,
Yeah, you down
yes.
with that? Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think you told me you haven't been in Cuba. You have to come, man. You
I
have to
would
come.
love it. Love it. I
You're
would
going
love
to
it.
be amazed. It's not an easy country. We are not talking. We are trying to not touch the politics stuff. I'm going to show you the humanity thing behind all that is in the streets of this city, and really, you're gonna fall in love with that, man. These many people that have come, they will never forget this, and it's beautiful to know. So
I
it's
would
your
love it.
roots too.
It is, yeah, man, and I feel that, and I would love to experience that. And like, I feel like I've met a long lost family member with this conversation, right? So we're gonna have to connect. We'll have to figure that out somehow. What do you want to do with your art? So you want to uplift other artists, but take a moment for yourself and say, what is it that you want to do?
I might have many dreams. I have pending for a year and a half a script, guion script, I think it said. I have a script in my head about a movie that I want to do. And yeah, I need to finish to write it. And I have many things that I want to do. I want to develop, do some films. I want to develop a crazy series that this is the first time I talk about this idea. It's a beautiful series that I'm shaping it in my head yet, but I'm gonna start it very soon. It's a photo series, but it's also a kind of imagine it's in between a collectible, a photo series, and a project to help people. It's all this together. It's about portraits. It's about Cuba, and I'm trying not to give you the whole information,
No, that's cool. Yeah.
but it's going to be beautiful. I can see it in my head every time. I think it happens to every artist. We see first the whole result in our head, and then there is the big challenge of making it real, exactly as, or not exactly, but the more close to what we saw, to make it real. And it will take me time, but I'm gonna start very soon. And maybe maybe in a month, I'm gonna have the first lot that I'm gonna publish, because it's going to be a series, a long series, like a collectible, but it's not going to be a collectible. And with these sales, I want to help the people that is going to participate. That is normal people that I can see already that I can give them a money that is going to be maybe 3, 4, 5 months of salary in Cuba. So this is kind of difficult also to talk about, because I have to take care, because the government doesn't like any project that comes from the outside. What I mean the outside is that I'm going to sell it on the blockchain, but the government doesn't like that money that comes from somewhere to the people. They always think that it's U.S. government who's paying and stuff like that. So you can get really big problems with all this. But I'm going to look for the way to manage this project. But I really want to do it, because I want to do it with normal people. And when I say normal people, you're gonna see in the future. And I want to reward them for participating, because it's not fair to make money from their history or whatever. You know, it's fair to help them with all that. It's not even about making money. It's about taking their stories to the blockchain and putting it there, and not one story or 5 story or 10. It's going to be, I hope, maybe 1,000 stories.
Wish you the best of luck, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, let's see what happens. It's going to be beautiful.
I really appreciate the time that you took with me. And again, good luck. I learned so much from you, and I personally connected to it as being able to connect to my culture. But for everybody else that listens to this show, they're going to be listening about tech, but to hear how art is elevating humanity, democracy, freedom of speech, how the blockchain and NFTs give a permanence to what's inside, and nothing can take that away. That's huge. And I think a lot of people are going to want to hear what you've said today. So thank you for taking the time to do that.
No, thank you for giving me this little moment with you and with everyone to share our stories and our feelings. This is beautiful, and everything I can do to just put the spotlight about the Cuban community and what people are doing to be present in the space. I haven't said, but it is really, really, really difficult to be present in the space. It's so crazy. We live that every day. I talk that with my wife every day. Not only being in the rooms, not only talking like here. That costs so much money here in Cuba. So much. Internet is really expensive, and also the speed and all these kind of things. It's just so every time I have a little space like the one you have gave me, that it's been so beautiful to present the effort of the community in Cuba to be here, is really huge and important. Definitely.
Maybe, and here's a teaser. I'm gonna ask live for a part 2 in the near future. Maybe we can talk about that, about what that process is like, regarding access and how important it is, and how there's a lot of friction to get there. I think that would be valuable too, man, to get those words from
Definitely.
you. All right.
Definitely.
All right, man. Hey, look, seriously, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks to you. I'm gonna give you one last view before cutting.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Sir. There you are, man. Look at the beautiful sky that we have, and a beautiful city. It's difficult, it's old, but it's still beautiful. And you know, I don't know if you know, on Netflix, the film People that they just released.
Yeah.
People, you have to see it. The square in the film is right there, right behind this building. The square cool. In that film is, if you go there, it's exactly the same as they put it on the film. So yes.
That's nice. Hey man,
thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. And after, actually, okay, so one, thank you. I'm gonna hit pause, but stay on because I have a question for you.
Okay,